Hey guys, it's MKxJUMP here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Russell. Many of you will be aware that up until this point I've been quite quiet about what I think of the new heroes, and that's because I wanted to be certain before throwing any hype or excitement in your direction, because I wanted to be sure about what I thought, because these are very expensive heroes and very difficult to obtain. So as I said, today's video we're going to be focusing on Russell. But before we go into today's video, I'd love to give a shout out to Alex Andrew and Bloody Tree, because they've decided to back me on Patreon because they love what I do here. If you like what I do here and want to support me, you can find links for my Patreon down below or up there in the top corner of the screen. But anyway guys, let's go check out what I think of the new light hero, Russell. So here he is, Russell, the new light hero. And the first thing that should jump out to you guys is his speed. Coming in at 1218, he's able to match carry for how quick he moves on the battlefield. And that's very important, because if a Russell can go before carry, you can get some very interesting stuff off, especially later on in the fight. Russell is a very quick hero, and therefore you should focus on building him for speed. Speed stones and speed artifacts are the best way to do this, and I'd argue if you want to get the most out of your Russell in PvP, you should be using both. I've heard arguments from people saying you should use energy, and whilst this is okay, the risk that you get your energy stolen in round 1 is very significant, and that means that Russell is just setting himself up to get beaten by carries, and that scares me. Carry deals an awful lot of damage to heroes when she steals their energy, and having an energy Russell just sit there and then get hit for tons of damage round 1 is not the kind of optimal strategy you want to be having. Especially as the defender, the chance that this happens is incredibly high, and therefore I'd say the quicker your Russell can go, the better. Don't get excited by the idea of giving in energy, because sure, this might work on some fights, but if carry does get that energy steal hit, it's gonna hurt and you're gonna be sad. So before we've really taken a look at his skills, I want to tell you right now I think you should be building Russell with a speed stone and a speed artifact. And that might raise a question with many of you. Which speed stone do you run? Speed crit, so that there's a higher chance he crits with his active skill. Speed attack, so that his passive damage that chips away at opponents, which we'll talk about a little later on, can deal a little more damage. Or maybe speed HP, so that he can survive more. I'd argue speed HP is the best way to go, for two reasons. The more HP a Russell has, the less likely he's going to be the lowest HP hero on your team, which means heroes like Drake that want to target the lowest HP enemy aren't going to be going for your Russell. Secondly, if he's got higher HP, there's a higher chance he's going to make it to later rounds, and later rounds is where Russell shines when he's managed to charge up loads of layers on his passive skill. So with all this talk of passive skills, we should probably take a look at them. The first passive skill we're going to talk about is Light Arrow, and this is my personal favourite skill that Russell has. When he does a basic attack, he gives himself 2 layers of the ability called Light Arrow, and a Light Arrow, when it's given to Russell, allows him to perform 1 strike against the enemy with the lowest HP for every layer of Light Arrow that he has, and this triggers when he does a basic attack or an active skill. It hits for 300% of damage and also gains bonuses from holy damage, so a Russell who, thanks to his other passives, has plus 60% holy damage, is able to do some really big damage with this constant aggressive chip from Light Arrow. Light Arrow ignores Amun-Ra bubbles, will always target the enemy with the lowest HP, and because of this, it's going to kill enemies that are rather squishy, such as carries. In fact, if you watch this video here, you'll see a carry just resurrected, and therefore doesn't have unbending will shields, and Russell was able to one-shot this carry with all those hits from Light Arrow. The ability that I will call the Carry Slayer is so good because Russell just does it so consistently, because it's every basic attack, every active skill, he's just going dunk, 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 chopping away, and I really do like it. If unbending will shields are in the way, it's going to knock and break them down, which is really handy, because just dealing one massive hit just gets soaked up by the shield, so the fact Russell's doing it in continuous blows means it's going to break through those pretty easily. As well, with Baptism of Light, which gives Russell his passive skills, he gets extra attack, extra crit damage, control immunity, and speed. Control immunity is fantastic to avoid those nasty CCs, that crit damage means his burst attacks from his active skill is going to hit like a truck, and of course the bonuses to attack and holy damage will improve his passive skills and active skills. Russell's final passive skill is called Dazzling Light. When the battle begins, he has a 100% chance to inflict Dazzle on 2 enemies with the lowest HP for 1 round. Now, Dazzle's interesting for 2 reasons. First, it triggers at the very beginning of the fight, so it doesn't require speed at all to be good. Second, it forces the enemies who are affected by it to target one random hero on your side of the field, similar to how taunt works. Therefore, if a carry is affected, she won't hit 4 enemies with her active skill, she'll only hit 1, which means it provides some form of damage control against really nasty active skills, such as carries. Therefore, Russell is very good at disrupting how heroes work. Another interesting thing about this is it only lasts for 1 round and re-triggers at the end of each round. Therefore, things like Purify aren't going to affect it, because Purify removes it at the end of the round, but Russell reapplies it to the lowest HP heroes. Therefore, it plays around Purify, which I really like. Also, Dazzling Light doesn't just give Russell this really interesting crowd control ability, it gives him the chance to heal himself by 400% of Russell's attack at the end of each round, and also gives him an extra layer of light arrow. What we should mention about Dazzle is that it is a control effect, therefore heroes who have some form of control immunity do have a chance to avoid getting hit. So the aura bonuses given by light or dark heroes, or many of the passive skills of newer heroes, all have control immunity, and therefore you should watch out because Dazzling Light might not always trigger, therefore it should be considered a little bonus to Russell's skill rather than the only thing that makes him good. However, if you want to maximise on Dazzling Light's effectiveness, you should be giving Russell a Ruyi Scepter. Not only does this make him quick, it also increases the chance of Dazzle going off, so against really nasty control effects, especially if this Ruyi Scepter is upgraded, Dazzle is going to have a much higher chance to affect the enemy heroes. In case you were wondering what happens when all the heroes have the same HP, Dazzle targets the opponents who are in the earlier slot positions. Therefore, I tested against a full team of Holy Kids, and it only affected slots 1 and 2. So if for some strange reason you have lots of heroes who all have the same amount of HP, the ones in the earlier slots will be the ones that get affected by Dazzling Light. So just bear that in mind if that ever comes up. Russell's active skill is by far one of the most unique active skills we've seen in Idle Heroes. When he triggers it, he goes into this kind of stasis where he draws his bow and holds for the whole round. In this form, his crit increases by 50% and his damage reduction is increased by 40%, and this lasts for 2 rounds. While channeling, Russell is immune to all control effects and cannot gain energy. In his move on the next round, he releases this arrow he's charged and deals a whopping 1500% of attack against all enemies. And this is why I think you don't actually need to build Russell for speed attack or an attack build, because 1500% is massive. That's 15 times his base, and with the plus 60% holy damage he's already got built in and additional crit damage, and the fact that this increases the chance he crits, he's gonna deal a lot of damage. And when he does this, he also gains 3 layers of Light's Arrow, so his active skill is also giving him some more of that fantastic chip ability. Not to mention, after it triggers, this will also trigger Light Arrow, so therefore finish off the enemies he's weakened with this massive hit. Now I see why a lot of people are getting excited about this, and it's a shame that Carry steals energy because this is an insane active skill. And if you can somehow make sure that Russell gets to go off with this, he's going to deal a lot of damage. Damage that can compete even with active skills we see from heroes such as Garuda. So if we consider all of this together in the context of the current meta, we want Russell to be as quick as possible. The reason I say this is because if you can outspeed carries, then the chance that you kill them is significantly increased, especially when they resurrect and they're fully charged with energy. If Russell can go first, he can potentially kill one of these carries, stopping them from being an absolute nuisance. Therefore, Russell wants to be very, very quick. So I recommend you build him, as I said earlier, with Speed HP and Ruyi Scepter. This means he'll outspeed Speed Energy carries, and also carries that are given Speed and Augustus Magic Ball. One thing worth mentioning is that Carry has a natural speed advantage over Russell, and this is because of the Celestial Island update that happened a few months ago. Most people have managed to build the Evil Statue of Lightning, which enhances the speeds of Carry, but most people haven't built the Holy Statue of Lightning, which will increase the speed of Russell. Therefore, carries will be naturally quicker, so whether you're running Augustus Magic Ball or Ruyi Scepter, you may struggle to outspeed Speed Artifact carries, because it's going to be a struggle. Especially carries with Ruyi Scepter, you're just not going to be able to overtake them, regardless whether you're the attacker or defender. However, when this meta stabilises and everybody has built all their statues to full, you'll notice that it'll be a lot easier to make a Russell outspeed. Heroes such as Nakia or using the Sphinx monster pet will all provide you with different ways to give your Russell the advantage, especially in later rounds. Russell's enables are pretty straightforward. You want to give him both enabling growths to ensure that he's as quick as possible, and then you should give him Purify and Unbending Will, all pretty standard. His second enable is a bit of an interesting choice here. If you want to make sure he deals lots of hard damage, go for Lethal Fightback. If you want him to heal a bit better from effects from Belrain or other such healing abilities such as his own final passive, you may want to increase his vitality. So I'd test around and see which one works better for your team, because it really depends on the context of not only who you're fighting, but how squishy you feel your Russell is. Another option if you find your Russell is too squishy is to give him half Ranger Armor, half 6-star armor. So you'd keep the Minstrel's Cape, and you'd keep the Minstrel's Boots, but you'll switch the bow to the Thorny Flame Whip, and switch the ring to the Flame Necklace. This will give him a little bit more HP, making him slightly more tanky. Now you do miss out on a little bit of damage, but that's okay. The final alternative option is to give your Russell Golden Crown. Now this will boost his attack by 18%, which is nice, increase his HP by 25%, which is great, and also improve his damage reduction from all sources by 25%. Now this means when he starts to trigger his active skill and draws his bow back, he'll have a total of 65% damage reduction, which is very, very tasty. Couple this with all of his other bonuses from his armor, it might be even higher. However, the Golden Crown has one clear weakness. In a meta where carries naturally have a speed advantage, all carries will be able to outspeed Russell, whether you're the attacker or the defender. So when they resurrect, they will all get a chance to use their active skills against Russell before he's able to hit them, and that makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. However, Golden Crown does give you a little bit more survivability so that you're able to survive these hits and then poke them to death with your light arrow. So it's a difficult choice. Some of you may prefer to run Golden Crown on Russell, others may prefer, like myself, to run Ruyi Scepter. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what artifacts do you have at your disposal and which ones are the priorities to give to other heroes. For example, if you're using a Unimax or a Sherlock, I'd prioritise giving them the Ruyi Scepter, and if you've got a Golden Crown knocking around, probably give it to Russell. But you've also got to bear in mind Augustus Magic Ball, and also the other heroes such as Garuda and Ada might benefit from the Golden Crown as well. So if you can't give him a Ruyi Scepter, I'd say give him a Magic Ball, and if you can't give him a Magic Ball, give him a Golden Crown. I'm aware that many heroes have a priority over Russell when it comes to their artifacts, and I think the flexibility of Russell definitely plays to his strengths. Overall, Russell is a really unique hero with a very exciting set of skills. I love how his active skill works and how much damage that's capable of, and I also really enjoy the damage that his light arrows can do. I especially like that his light arrows will trigger, even if his attack is dodged by carry. I like how they can rip through unbending will marks, and I also appreciate that they can go around Amon-Ra's bubbles, meaning that heroes can die without getting the benefit of heal that Amon-Ra can offer. Overall, I think Russell is going to be a top contender in the PvP meta and be seen in many, many teams. He's flexible and versatile and therefore can fit comfortably in any team. His Dazzle ability is similar to Unimax's Taunt and can negatively affect the abilities of many heroes including carry. So overall I think Russell has a lot to offer the meta and is a fantastic addition to the Idle Heroes game. So what do you all think of the new light hero? If you've managed to get a copy, what kind of team are you running him in? And also, what kind of artifacts have you chosen to give him? Let me know in the comments section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, and if you want to catch some more content about Russell and Drake and the additional things coming this week, make sure to subscribe. If you can't wait until then, you can find some more of my content on the side of the screen, and if you like what I do here, make sure to back me on Patreon with the link above. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I hope you have a great week, and happy idling.